Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. Thank you for joining us again this evening on a Monday night. Our special guest is Dr. April L. Johnson, who is an author and a pastor at St. Mary Free Will Baptist Church in Plant City, Florida. Welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation, Dr. Johnson. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor and a privilege.
Thank you.
How is everyone doing today?
Everyone's good. Thank you for being here. Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is sponsored by Isla's Diamonds, LLC, brought to you by Milton McCulloch, author of Love and Emancipation, L.D. Robinson, owner and operator of Ladero Press, A. Dante Protection, and the Fresh Book Festival, which is in January 2022. It's coming up really, really fast. I hope you all will join us. If you have any questions for April, please leave them in the chat room. We will try to get back to them at the end of the conversation. This conversation is being recorded. So Dr. Johnson, thank you for being here. Just take a minute and give us a brief background about who you are.
I am a little girl from Lakehurst, New Jersey, with big dreams and many people that helped me along the way. I was born and raised in a small town. It's near the naval base and where the Hindenburg was, came down. And so that has always been a fun fact for me, and also a great place to grow up, where things were simple. So I think that helped me create, just the creativity from my mother, Barbara Birch, she rests her soul, and my dad is also gone, Bernard Henderson. They really instilled in me work ethics, and my mom was such an artist. She could create anything. And I was a tomboy, and I had a baseball bat in one hand and I had a Barbie doll in the other. So you didn't want to mess with me, right? So that's my humble beginnings. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask you at the end of the conversation how you got to Plant City, which is the strawberry festival of the state of Florida. We'll get back to that. But in the meantime,
yes, ma'am.
I want to talk about your journey to your doctorate and why you decided to get a degree in bereavement and behavioral depression.
Yes, actually, it stemmed out of, I was a pastor and at the time, and I went through some difficult times on my job where two times in my career where a client was very aggressive. And being a manager, you're the target, and so realizing that faith plays a great part in all of our lives, but there's also the works that you have to do. And so I went through counseling as a pastor, as a minister. And so I learned the techniques, and I realized that there was a deficit in the body of Christ for that. So that, you have scriptures, but how do you apply them effectively? And some things, scriptures, I feel like Paul says that everything is beneficial, everything is free to us, but not everything is beneficial, right? So we have other aspects of our lives that we are able to use. And the techniques in therapy really inspired me to go forth and finish my doctorate. Originally, my doctorate, I think, was just because I was in ministry. I've always had a zeal for learning more to be the best in my gift. I consider it more not a craft, but a gift from God. I think my craft is my art, my authorship, writing and things like that. So basically it came from a need that I realized the body of Christ didn't have. And so if I was going to be the best pastor and the best counselor, I went back to finish something I had already started. So, and that's in Christian counseling. And so before the pandemic in 2019, actually the beginning of 2020, I reached out to many people to start mental health. And this was an insight that I received, just in my own journey, that I knew that there was going to be a mental breakdown during this time. Right. And so in 2020, our church received a scholarship, and we offered many if they wanted to become mental health coaches. So I'm always trying to not just educate myself, but also educate the body of Christ as well as the community so that we can all grow and be the best that we can be.
So listen, everybody, Dr. Johnson is a serial entrepreneur. So we're just going to try to get to how she gets to be an author, because she's done so many other things in the meantime, right? A serial entrepreneur.
Serial.
Right? I mean, she's done a lot, right? So not only have you have a PhD, you're a licensed and bonded insurance broker. What was the pivotal moment that made you decide that that was an important career in your life?
Very much important. I'm also, I'm a business strategist, right? And I'm also believe in setting up goals. You should have, of course, we know short-term and long-term goals. So within a 5-year term goal, when I became branch manager, my 5th goal was to become a financial advisor or to switch over to be an area leader. Well, in the company that I was at, area leaders were like, once you got in, you were in, right? So.
Right.
And so either they die or they mess up or they get another promotion to another area. So that didn't seem like it was going in the right direction. So I came across an opportunity, and it was on social media, believe it or not. They reached out to me, and I started my independent agency, and I just knew that it was the right time. And my 5-year plan, I had to take down all my debts, bless you, pay off my debts, have savings, and as well as be in a position that you can live off of your income for 6 months, right? You really do, because as an insurance producer, you are on commission. And so people say you were having a salary in a pandemic. Remember the last one we had, right? God has me walk in faith. I don't know what this journey is, but the Lord said, you had a 5-year plan. In June, you would not believe it, I realized that my 5-year plan had come to an ending. And actually, what catalyst, I was able to take 10 bills, consolidate it to one bill for $200. Imagine taking 10 bills, paying them off because the high interest rate and the $200 bill. So that eliminated almost $2,000. That put $2,000 cash flow back into my budget. So in July, again, the COVID, I didn't get it, but I had to take time off, and they closed my branch. So one thing about it, a busy lady, when God says be still and know that he's God, I'm not the one to sit still, because when I sit still, that means I reflect, I renew, I restore. And I really knew that at that time, I can do this. We were closed for 4 months in my branch. I ended up 115% of my goal. Every month we have over and over, no matter how many times we've had to close, because consistent behaviors will equal the right attitude. So that's what made the pinnacle move, is that I had a 5-year journey plan and I stuck to it. I was single in 5 years. I was single. I had a son that was in high school, and unfortunately, you don't have any backup. You don't have any support system. People say, I'm going to be there. I'm family members, friends, even his father. But I realized in life that as a mother, I had to depend on me. And so even with that, I put strategies in place that I would have a backup system for myself to raise him. He graduated. That was like a check mark that I celebrated.
Yes.
And then from there, I had 3 years. So I was working really hard. So you would think at 115% of your goal, you're set. And then you have an area leader that was new, that came into the area and don't see you the way that you see you and your numbers. And I realized that sometimes the better you become at something, the better they want to keep you there. And it's nothing wrong with that, because that's what they want. But when you have a made up mind and you know your goals and you know your worthiness and you know what you bring to the table, and of course you pray, right? Definitely. And so I realized that I was always going to stay in this this rat race, right? Because the faster I was going, the more productive I was becoming to them, but it wasn't reciprocal. And this is a time in a season, I feel we have to have a reciprocal relationship. As
Right.
much as I give you 5 years, you should
Right.
give me my dream.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
So on top of everything else, you are a certified premarital and marriage and individual counselor. Did this come before all the rest of your entrepreneurial endeavors, or did you begin this when you became a pastor?
Well, of course, we do minister from the Bible, right? Marital. So again, I had my doctorate in 2019. And then I found different organizations that help those that, like the GMA, which is a for those that have their own insurance that you're covered under,
Right.
because we're considered ecclesiastical. So that covers you if for diagnosis, or we can't diagnose anything, but we can treat it. Like, so say for instance, we can't say you have bipolar. What we can do is treat the symptoms of it, like if you see a person that has different personalities. And we work actually with the medical field. We should not be in competition. We should be in collaboration with them. So there's times when I have had to say, you need to go to a psychiatrist, or to get that taken care of. So that's where we have to look at from a different perspective. From that point, is that with the marriage counseling came in, again, I realized I'm only hitting so much, and the company that I've worked with, they actually wrote several books on it and the love languages. And so they partnered with me to be certified. And so you take an assessment, and then with that assessment, it really helps you break down your budget, break down, how you see money, how you see love, how you see marriage. So that was very important to me. And so that also, that was in 2020, just before 2020. And my counseling career, counseling services have actually was amazing because we did Zoom. I did Zoom before Zoom was popular.
Right.
I counsel in California, Arizona. It's gone global. And I'm not, I've just been so like blessed. You know what I mean? Because even though I was working for the bank, I still had my counseling in the evening. So I was wore out sometimes, but it was so much awesome. It was awesome for me, So it kind of blended together. I was a pastor. I've been a pastor since 2004. And I pastored in Milford, Delaware. And so that was my first church. And so we had that same year, we wind up doing a revival in Bermuda for Fabian. Remember the hurricane? And we did a 3-day revival there. And that was just amazing for me. So I realized that the more that I come across many people, and if you can't if you don't have the answer, right, you should find the answer. So if there's things that I could not answer, I decided to learn so that I can also mentor and share that with others.
So you say you came from an itty bitty city in New Jersey, right?
Yes.
And how do you go from an itty bitty city in New Jersey to say, I've been called and I want to be a pastor? How does that journey happen?
Well, it actually, I knew from a young girl. I was saved at 10 years old, 9.5 actually, in Bethel Church of God in Christ in Lakewood, New Jersey. And I still feel like that was the place that solidified the word. Like, I've been in Kojic, okay? And one thing about it, anybody can say, don't stand up and say anything if you don't know the scripture, you don't know the verse, you don't know the context of it, right? So even from a younger age, I felt that I didn't know how that would happen, because in Kojic, they're changing now, but back then, the highest you could become is a missionary. And I always saw myself as a pastor. I don't know, I had dreams, I had, inclinations at a young age. And some things you just have to keep quiet and just allow it to manifest. And then when I moved to Delaware, I was there. I went to college there, Wesley College,
Oh,
where I
okay.
got my bachelor's degree. Now they are a HBCU,
See you.
Delaware State. Yes, yes, yes. They have partnered. And so, so excuse me. So it's been amazing. But there I was able to, again, I took political science and I was very good in economics, as well as took religious classes there. And they were a Methodist church based out of methodology of Methodists. So it was always there, the aspect of maturing my faith and knowledge, because there's a lot of things that we have faith, but we don't have a sound understanding of the Bible that we have. So that's where that came from. Yes, ma'am.
So take a minute and take a drink. I know you're suffering
Yes,
this
thank you
evening.
so
Yeah,
much.
go
You're
ahead.
so sweet.
Listen,
Give
I
me
suffer
1
every
second.
Monday night, right?
Yes,
Because
give me
your
1
throat
second.
does
Let me
kind of
just turn
close
this.
on you, right? No problem.
She knew it. She knew it. Let me just
Yeah.
take this off. Yes, so I can still talk. Get myself. They might have any questions real quick. Change the subject.
No. We're good. We'll wait till you get your drink in. It's fine. Yeah. We all know what it's like for your throat to close up on you when you're in the middle of an interview. It's just crazy, it's just crazy. And you don't have time to clear your throat. It's just kind of, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And then I'm
Okay.
trying to also, let me see my video. Sorry.
There you go.
Yes, and I'm also trying to breathe.
Right. You
You
know,
know
we
how
can't,
that is. Like,
but listen, when we have to take care of our children, once we take care of them, and then we never think about, you know what, I could get sick too, right? You don't think about that to the back end.
woo, he had me scared because no, he was fine. He was just congested. It was like, okay. But then when he had a fever and then it would go down and spike, I'm like, you got one more day. We're going out. But mama broke it. So
yeah, that's good. That's good.
So yeah.
Well,
so,
hopefully you'll plateau and won't get too much sicker.
Well, I was down for 3 days.
Okay.
But
Okay.
this is the thing. I guess we have had to reschedule and different things. So I told my husband, I said, I'm just going to be congested, but I'm just a person that of their word, and I just feel it's very important for all of us to not too many times you can share your platform, but when you do, it's meaningful to me because you didn't have to. So I appreciate it.
Well, we're going to say that you're going to plateau after tonight and then be on with your life for the rest of the week and the holidays. So let's get to your authorship, right? So becoming an author, what made you decide to write and discuss your books? Because you've written in different genres.
Yes.
Correct? So let's talk about let's first talk about what made you decide to write. Now that's probably because you write sermons every month and every week. So writing is probably not the issue, right? Go ahead.
Actually, I didn't realize that I was a writer, and I'm a journalist without saying officially I have a journal, right? So I even as a young child, I was always writing my thoughts and ideas. And of course, it's funny because I would write my sermons, but I don't preach from my sermons. Once it's written, I never even look at it anymore. I guess it's just producing your thoughts,
Right.
and sometimes an outline, but that's how it began. And so books, I feel like, comes from you. It's just like your arm. Now that I'm an author, I didn't realize it. You just have to have someone help you process who you are. And so I think that's where that came about. So it actually, my first book is called My Joyous Power. I went through a divorce, and in 2016, I was at New Hope Free Will Baptist Church, where Bishop Charles Brown is the pastor. And it was, and he's the annual bishop, and, Bishop E.T. Brown, and we have Bishop Kenny Brown. They are general bishops in our denomination of United American Free Will Baptist Church. So, in that, it was so, I think you could see it in the back, but what happened was, it was just a preached word, okay? And from that, people came to share how impactful it was for them. And they would just, I mean, people I never even knew. And they would say, you know, you have, you know, your message of hope. And I was actually preaching from a hurt place. And I lost, you know, in my life, just in my span, you know, I didn't have my parents. I've lost houses, right? I've lost cars. I've lost time, right? Loss, you know, I had miscarriage, I had, you know, all these different things. And when you go through a situation, you look back at everything, like I said earlier, you reflect, and you look at all the things that I've gone through. You know, I'm not talking about just the health wise, the surgeries, different things that you just had to go through. But I still had joy. You know, like the enemy, I felt like when I came to Florida, I had 3 children and I had, you know, a husband. I came full like Mara, right? Like Naomi. She said, call me Mara, means bitterness. And so I came full, but now my 2 boys, they left the state. My ex-husband, he left, right? So here it is, I came full, but now I'm empty, right? Now I have a young son to raise. So I had a pinnacle decision in my career. I had to move to a different city I never knew, but in all, I still had joy. You know, and so it was like, you hit me with the hardest punches, Satan. Yes, you did. But guess what? You didn't win. You know, and some things I don't feel as though it's just about Satan, right? I feel as though it was about my journey to grow.
Absolutely.
And what did I do with the life lessons that came my way? Did I utilize it or did I wallow? Now, I'm not going to say there was no times that I wasn't wallowing, and there was no times that I wasn't weeping and woe is me and why is me. But then it came to a point is, you know what? Use what you have, discard the rest, and make lemonade out of the lemons you've been given. So that's where, and so what happened was I transcribed my sermon, and then I began to just write and expand on it. And I mean, it just came to fruition. It sat for 3 years. And it, and that was out of fear. I'm just
That's so funny. We've all done it. We've all done it.
Oh my God.
We've all done it.
Let me tell you, it was at the publishers. And I told my goddad, which is Bishop E.T. Brown Jr., I said, I don't want my book published. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, the publisher. And then I called the publisher. I want it back. The printer. I was like, I want it back. Don't just do 1 copy. I'm good. And they're like, what is wrong with you? It was just like, once it's out there, it's out there. Like, I'm a private person. Even though I work in the public sector,
right.
I wanted to maintain my privacy. And then I said, well, there's so many books on joy, and you don't need that book. And I was talking to myself, I was backtracking, right? You don't need anything about joy. Joy is all out there. And a small voice, I believe is the Holy Spirit, he says, well, your voice is not out there. It's your fingerprint, is not out there. So from there, I've been able to inspire others. And even with, we have upcoming December the 11th, we're having the Overcomers Conference, which is our 3rd year. And so we have 10 speakers that are going to give their testimony. And then that's going to be transcribed into an anthology. And so they're going to be published writers. So my journey, I truly feel, yay. And Sister Angela is on there. She's one of them. Yay. And she's our 2nd speaker. She came last year. And then that was her first time ever speaking live. So I just feel like my job,
go ahead,
excuse me, is a catalyst and just an empowerment.
Nice joy cup. She got a nice
a nice cup, right? Yeah. I feel for her because when I had COVID, it was just, you couldn't breathe, you couldn't talk, it consumed you. I think she just has a cold, but it's just amazing as you get older, a cold can put you down for a week as opposed to 2 days like it used to when you were younger, right? It'll put you down for a whole week, and you have to try to come through it. But anyway, now that you're on the screen, how you doing, Mr. Meadows? I thought you were writing something for us to see this year.
No, I'm here at the high school. I just did a show here. We did a show about, it was titled "The State of Urgency" that the students wrote. I designed it.
And you had a production?
Yeah, we had a production.
And you didn't
That's
invite us? Oh, we didn't know anything about it.
in Durham.
Oh, you were in Durham. Okay.
That's where
and it went really well?
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was interesting. It was about the state of basically the communities, and now the community is eating itself, destroying itself.
Yeah,
violence and all
exploding
those
from the inside out.
Right, and so they created a piece about those different aspects of it, of what's happening.
And the children wrote it?
Yeah, they pretty much came up with most of it, I think.
How about the settings? They did the set?
The set was fabulous. I designed it.
Okay, I'm sure you did. Dr. F.R.E.S.H back? You have designed it, the whole set, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna text one to you, photo.
You
I'll
ready,
go back to
Dr.?
Ms. April here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. So we left off, you're having the conference on December the 11th, and you're going to take those sermons and make them an anthology book. That's fabulous.
Yes, and it's really their testimonies, because, we have overcome. There's a scripture, Revelations 12:11 says that we've overcome the enemy really by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And so in that, it has been impactful. For the first year, we had a young lady that actually shared, and it broke through. She was, even raped as a young child and never told anybody until she came to that conference, and it broke shackles off of her. And she was in a safe setting. So realizing that it is very impactful that we share our experiences, because you never know what can help someone else. And given a platform, just like, I know for you, it's Monday and it's, today, but it's powerful. Everything that we do to increase knowledge and experience and share, you just never know. It can spark not just the child, but I feel like the child in us can be sparked and set free as well.
Let's talk about your children's book.
Yes. So I did pick it up. So this one is my my joyous power. And you did notice, I saw Mr. Leroy, he did notice. So I think I only have a couple more joy cups. Yes. And we
Very
also
nice.
have peace cups. We have peace cups. And the peace cup seems to go with and we also have candles. So I kind of spread it for people to have the relaxation, right? To drink coffee or tea, and then also to have a good book. And so this was my first book. And then my children's book is My Joy Travels the World. And this was inspired from my granddaughter. You see, nice. She was so much like my granddaughter. And so she would look at my page, my picture, and on my back of the book, she would look. And so she wasn't able to read at that time. So that's where this was inspired. And it was just a poem that I wrote. And then I saw the pictures, I could envision what each scene was. And this was based in Hawaii. She was born in Hawaii. And if I had not, they forced me, I know, to go to her birth in Hawaii. My dream, my dream location. And believe it or not, I still have the letter that my sister got married in. Wow. My oldest sister got married in Hawaii. And I always romanticized Hawaii. I always wanted to go. So when I had this opportunity to go because she was being born, the fragrances, the smells, the colors, the food, the aroma, I would not have been able to write this book if I had not. And I was so it took longer because I was like, no, that's not the right color flower. That's not the right shade. This is how I envisioned it from where I was there. So I tried to keep it in. You know, I felt like Mary, you know, how she just held on to it. And so that was able to come out. We're having a second copy coming out. It's gonna, this one says, My Joy Travels the World. This one is Joy Meets the Hawaiian bird, Nene, which this also teaches them about their heritage. It teaches them, Nene is their Hawaiian bird. And so the next one is Joy Meets Hanu, the sea turtle. And so that's very mystical, and they're very much into the sea turtle. And so My Joy Travels the World. She's going to be traveling to all of the United States, plus in other countries like Africa. And so it's like it just came out. Now I just have to have time, right?
So how'd you find your illustrator?
Well, I looked high and low, and then I also did references. I feel like, you know, but the thing is, she retired. So my next book has 2 illustrators on there, and you don't realize it, that people cannot imitate one another. And so that's my illustrator. She was so good, and she's actually she's used to be in the United States, but now she went back to India. Her name is Sarah Ashraf. And that was very
tired.
big, right? Well, that's a nice way to put it. Come
right.
on. Look, I'm gonna drink. This is not a Twix, but it's a Joy.
Yes, understood. Well, we're not going to hold you much longer because I know you're not feeling well. So we're going to kind of speed up the interview just a little bit.
I'm fine.
Are you good? Okay.
I'm good. I'm a sport. Come on now. I'm from New Jersey. They can't keep us down. They tried. Trust me.
You have 3 books, right? What about the other book?
Oh, yes. Oh, actually, I have a little bit more, but I'll just show you the 3rd book.
No, you can tell us.
This is the one that's really close to my heart as well. This is with Angela Smith. I have been coordinating with her. She has been such an awesome, she's called the Queen of Collaborations, truly the queen. So this one was bringing heels to the city, stopping domestic violence at a time. So this one, I actually have 2. One is God's Timing is Perfect. And
that has many authors in it. That has many authors in it?
Yes, it's yes. And then I have the healing, which is I'm grateful. And so the first one I wrote was it's 16 affirmations for 16 days. So this was for our violence. We had a 24-hour prayer, and I closed out the leg. It was on November the 29th to December 1st, and I was the closing out of the leg of the last hour. So she had different speakers and just talk about the violence. And honestly, that was the first time I think I came out and shared my story on domestic violence, which was very enlightening, and it was powerful to me. But again, back to my joy is power. It's like being transparent, you know, and you don't realize by your transparency, you can help someone else really heal and realize that it happens. Things happen in life, but the choices that you make from it. I chose to live. I chose to move forward and be the best mother. But if I'm dead, life is over, you know? So I chose, I'm sorry, that's the way.
That's just the way it is, right? Exactly. I mean, there are a lot of people who don't come through domestic violence.
Exactly.
Right? So,
but it's a choice. It's a choice. Sometimes and this is the thing, if I never was in that situation, I could not minister from that situation. You can't. There's a level of shame. There's a level of misunderstanding. There's a level of guilt. There's a level of, especially with women, we always want to be fixers. We want to make it. They're like, give them one more chance, one more opportunity. But let me remind you that men also get violence towards too.
Oh,
It's
yes.
not just against
Oh, yes.
women,
Mhm.
you know, but men also feel ashamed to say they're being abused, you know, and they stay in a relationship. You know, we say, oh, she's just an alpha male, alpha female, and she just runs her house and blah, blah, blah. But we don't realize the extent of mental abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse. You don't realize how many people are stuck in a financial abusive situation.
Verbal abuse.
Verbal abuse, exactly.
Mm. And so you have one more, right? Another book?
It's up and coming December the 7th.
Okay.
It's Soulful Poetry. I used to write poetry when I was younger, and I was like, nah, it's not. But you know, coming through this journey, and I said, you know what, I support her. Her name is Angela Thomas Smith. And she's like, don't you want to be a part of it? And I'm like, no, yes. So I finally finalized it. And the title of mine is The Color of My Soul, my soul's color. But it's Color, C-O-L-O-U-R.
Were you part of the Confinement Chronicles or no?
Yes,
oh, okay.
I was waiting for
let's talk about that.
Yes, I was with Miss Angie B, and that was my first anthology, and in that one was the beginning of COVID, and that is also I'm going to finish my second book, which says harvest time double is your portion. So I took an extract of that and I shared that with the Chronicles, COVID Chronicles. And what happened was during that time, remember I told you about my 5-year plan. Remember, this is 2020.
Right.
I paid off my car. Who does that? Paid off my car, paid off credit cards, and it was just a small voice, you need to pay it off now. And I'm like, it's a pandemic. Don't you think I should be saving this money?
Right. I need this.
I'm serious. I was like, okay, let me pray about this one. But within that, before that month ended, I went ahead and did it. And so it was truly amazing, and it was liberating. And not only during that time, I mean, I got bonuses upon bonuses, and just for being me. And that's one thing I just want to share with everyone. Just be yourself. You know, a lot of times people are just always trying to copycat, and the thing is, my journey, you couldn't trace it anyway. So how, you know, and now is like such an awesome time because I do have Dr. April Johnson Enterprises, which I had to encompass all these businesses, right? Which is
serial
counseling.
Entrepreneur.
right. A business owner, author, a business strategist. That means we help you set up your business, set up your, you know, if you want to do a 501(c), if you want to set up, you know, we help you strategize. We even help nonprofits. How do you raise money? How do you, you know, be successful? And so with that, and then now as a licensed insurance, I've been able to partner with Mutual of Omaha, which partnered with me and said, and I said, well, I got all these things going on. I mean, they're like, we don't want you to stop. We want to partner with you, because they work on a comprehensive, goals-based, collaborative process, right, for their people that is impactful for any seasons of life. So they're like, don't stop. We want to partner with you. We want to run this race with you. So take me with your book signing. Take me with your church, you know, being a pastor. I know we didn't touch on that, but, you know, take me with you. So that has just opened up so many doors, because with my counseling, I'm able to, again, mind, body, and soul, right? Not only worry about their finances as along with their relationship portion, the mental portion, but a lot of times many relationships are in trouble because of finances, right? So now that I'm able to calm down the fires, in there, well, you said this and they said that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
You spend too much
okay,
money.
let's calm down, calm down.
Right.
Now we're able to get to the core of situations, but give them a plan. GoFundMe is not life insurance. Come on now.
No.
Stop, Mama Tony. Listen, did you want me to be real, or I can't be no one else? But I'm saying, and my job has always been to leave a legacy for my children, leave a legacy. That's why this book was written so I can leave a legacy for my grandchildren.
Right.
And I leave an imprint in the world. So now I'm able to not only in authorship, but I'm able to help them, income protection, educate them. And there's so many times that I've been able to say, I can't help you, but this person can, so that's the beauty that I love, that we're partnering together, and it's free. I'm able to give financial advice, and that to me is just powerful. It's just so powerful to me.
So when you're going to write that book, Oz is not always the place you need to be.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Everybody wants to be somewhere else, but they don't want to make sure that where they are is good and clean and done in a moment of excellence, right?
Yes.
So you try to click, you try to go somewhere else when you should be clicking your heels 3 times and going back to where you were.
Right.
And making that work. I just gave you the title of your book, and you can take it.
Well, let me share with you. That is so true, because it was actually 2006. Okay. I was pregnant was like almost 5 months. And so you're thinking, oh, I got free, we're smooth sailing, and all of a sudden, spotting and something, I was like, something's not right. And so it was like, they said, like, it was like a raisin. It was just like there was no reason. But after that, I had back-to-back miscarriages. And there's a place called Lodabar, right? And then there's a place called the Valley of Decisions.
Absolutely.
And so in that place is exactly what you're saying. And I just wanted to get out the valley. I just wanted to end. I wanted, however, to get out this valley. I just needed to get out. But God showed me that he's the lily in the valley. Exactly. Not just of the valley, like you just, but he's in the valley. So he was with me. Anyway. So he's like, he can sustain you. He can preserve you in the valley. So that was the eye opener. So then I just had to be patient to wait to get out the valley. But I promise you, when I got out of that valley, out of finances, out of emotional, out of everything, you didn't have to worry about me. When I got out that valley, I learned my lessons, but I used it to build. And that is a decision. And that's where it says the valley of decisions. We're always in decision making. But who are your people? And one thing I just heard from Bishop Bonner, he says, everyone should have 6 people. Just like when we're dead, we have 6 pallbearers, right? But who are your 6 people that will lift you up, that will raise you, that will encourage you? And Sister Angela is one of them. I thank God for, so many ones that God has placed, and the ones that in Sister Elaine, Panache, she's also on there. She's traveling all the way from North Carolina. We have Pastor Dawson, all the way from Miami coming up, and he's going to also, December 12th is my 4-year pastoral anniversary of St. Mary Free Baptist Church.
Is Pastor Dawson from DeLand originally?
Yes, overseer, yes, his hometown. He won't let me ever forget that.
No, he shouldn't.
I have a house in Deltona. Yeah, I have a house in Deltona. So what I'm saying is, we were all over the place, but this is the divine connection.
Right, and never met, but he was right there. Right.
He was right there.
And
so Pastor Dawson, Overseer Dawson, Pastor Kay, his wife is going to come, and her church is going to come on December 12th. So he's going to be a speaker. We have Emmett Hardaway. Emmett Hardaway. Yeah. Right? You worked with Andy B. And so And then we have Minister Melody Blocker. It's Melvin, Pastor Melvin Dawson, and and so, and then you're making me lose track of time.
That's okay.
You're gonna get me in trouble, Mama Tony.
Yeah, because if you leave somebody out, you're gonna be in trouble. So.
Woo, help me out, Sister Angela. Oh, she left now. Hey,
No,
Sister
there.
Angela Stewart.
She's
No,
there.
that's the other Angela.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, there she is, Sister Angela. Oh my goodness. See what you did, Mama Tony. So then we have also Minister Melody. Oh, we have Sister Deborah Parks from Lake Wells. We have and we have the awesome Sister Sonja Washington Flowers. She's going to cater our food. Woo, she's awesome. And I'm trying to think my main I'm gonna get in trouble. The Overcomers Conference, all the speakers. And so every year, so the greatest thing about that is every year they give a testimony. And then the congregation writes down who gave the most impactful testimony to them. And they list them 1, 2, or 3, right? And then at the end, we give a Queen Award and we give a King Award. So last year, it was so funny because the 3 men that were supposed to speak, for one reason or another, they weren't able to do it. So guess who got it? My husband, Mr. Samuel Johnson.
We're good.
But he had to earn it. No. He had to earn it. He got up, and Sister Angela could be my witness. He did an awesome job. There was not one dry tear. And even as his wife, I was sitting there like, okay, I didn't even know, and so he earned that King Award, and it was so awesome. And so then we have Honorary Awards. This year we have the biggest amount because some people weren't able to come out last year, that, because of age. And this year we're actually, from every denomination in our church, we're giving awarded someone from each church, and that is just from me to them, to tell them we appreciate their work in the Lord, and just to tell them that they've overcome. I mean, even Pastor Felicia and Deacon Sanders, from Brooksville, they overcame, double COVID, God blessed them and healed them, and it's just so amazing. And so you want to say thank you. You really do. And so this is my way of saying thank you to all the different people that have impacted my life,
Did you tell them that that what you put together will be a book? Did you tell them that at the end of this journey, their sermons or whatever they?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's, no, that has to be an agreement. You know that.
Yeah.
So basically they have the opportunity to spread, and then now they become their own entrepreneurs, right? Exactly. And they become, and then we will, and I also have Kingdom Royalty Book Club and Publishing. So that's my company that will be publishing the books, and then we'll be right there with them, doing their book signing.
Right.
They're not alone. I was alone, but God, I self-published it. So now I'm able to help them with their journey, and we have Sister Angela on there. Woo, we talked about you, the Queen of Collaboration, and just wanted to say thank you. And then this is also from Sis Angel Brown Eyes. She actually does paparazzi. And so she, I did this for Saturday. Remember your business Saturday. So I wanted to give a shout out to her and to even Pastor Tonda Wells. She does Mary Kay. And so, I support. You
can't do anything without collaboration.
Yes,
we're collaborators, not competitors. You just can't get it done.
That's right. I support my sisters, because we want support, right?
Right.
But guess what? You have to support somebody. You have to support somebody else's dream. And I just want to tell you also, the support might not come from the ones that you supported. We expect it, but God will open up doors for someone that you don't know. Sister Angela and I, we don't have a clue. We don't know each other. We only know each other from Facebook. But guess what? You can't tell me that that's not my sister. you know, and almost every project that she's a part of, I try to be a part of it to encourage her.
Well, I mean, you don't have to, you know, you don't have to tell me about faith and knowing how it all comes together, because it would be no F.R.E.S.H without collaborative people. It just would not happen, or without the direction from the divine. So I certainly understand that. Let me just say at this point, Dr. Johnson, I want you to encourage maybe some young authors about deciding to not hold their gift, but to write it no matter what.
Yes, Habakkuk couldn't say it even better than I could, right? Write the vision, make it plain. They that read it will run with it, okay?
Right.
I had no clue writing out that message, speaking the message would impact the world, right? Then rewriting it
right, exactly.
into a book, change lives, you know, and I'm still getting testimonies from it, right? So as an author, you have, as a young person, just as a person,
right,
you have the whole kaleidoscope of your life. You're only looking at a little dot of your life where you're at. But that one dot can be so impactful, okay? That dot for me was in 2016, just sharing through tears. I preached through tears, imagine that, right? But it was so powerful, it broke chains off of me, okay? And that one dot has been the catalyst of all these different, it built my confidence and my
absolutely
faith.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, it was like, first it went from fear, right? The radar was on the red.
Right.
And then when it was done, it was like, oh my God, I really can do anything through Christ that strengthens me.
Right.
That's how I felt. You know, it had nothing to do with the book sales. It had to do that it was successful. And my godfather, he said this to me. He says, well, now that the book is done, you have to, now you have to make it successful. I was like, no, I don't. That's none of my business. He goes, what do you mean? God told me to write it. God told me to publish it. It's successful because I have it in my hand. When I got my copy, it's done. Now it's up to God to make it successful, right? Meaning to share, to go to book signings. Faith without works is dead, right? So I would not have known the impact of it if I had not started. Start today.
Start today.
Because you never know, those little scribblings, those thoughts that you have, the ideas, even ideas. You know what I do now? When I have book writings, I talk to text. That moment that, oh, that's a good title, because your mind is so busy and you never know that one breaking idea could have been.
Can make all the difference. Can make all the difference. So
look at the poet Gorman. Look at her.
Yeah.
She, you know, she was in the backside of the desert, but God brought her forward. And that young person could be the same one. Even, I'm not even talking to the young person. I'm talking to those that are of age. You're never too old. You're never, unless you're in the ground. Because you know how many potential are in the ground. You know how many dreams, you know how many Grammys, you know how many, you know, Emmys are in the ground that never came to fruition. So don't waste your talent, because you are worthy. And even if you write it for yourself, that's a self-achievement.
It really is. And, you know, I always have a platform for authors, but I really have a soft spot for poetry, because writing a book is one thing. Putting poetry together and remembering it and delivering it on a stage every week, that's a whole nother story, right?
Yes.
We write the book and let it go. But a poet, and again, I know you're a poet yourself, I really have high regard for anybody who can put the prose together and then stand up without a piece of paper and talk about it. You know, Milton McCulloch is one of those people who can just stand up and give the world the taste of what it feels like to write a book, but to talk about it in poetry. So I take my hat off to all the poets here tonight. And so I want you to, as we close, I want you to tell us a little bit about the church that you pastor, please, and Plant City. Now, yeah, now I'm going to ask you how you got to the place where the Strawberry Festival made famous, Plant City, and you know how when you have your church, what time it is, contact information, and then we will ask you to leave us with a pearl of wisdom.
Oh, thank you. So actually, I had Mount Zion Free Will Baptist Church was my first baby. And I had transplanted to Haines City because I was working in Haines City, and I was happy. It was 9 months. It was getting ready to grow. And then the bishops of my denomination, at first I was like, I won't mind helping St. Mary's, but I have my little baby over here, And so then they were like, I feel like you should. And I was like, yeah, I can do it. And I felt like it was a good idea. But then it was like, no, I don't even know anything about Plant City. And so then I quieted myself down and the Lord was like, does the name, is that like your name? Like, does it mean something to you? And I'm like, yeah. So but you also prayed that you wanted your church, your ministry to be planted, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm tired of being doorpost to pillar to post,
Right. Bloom where you planted. Please.
Plant City.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
make
so
it plain. Make it plain.
That's where, and to be honest with you, I wish I had it. So as you said that. So I was working for State Farm in 1997. I left when at year 1999. I worked there for 5 years. Let me tell you, I have a tissue box that says "Bloom where you're planted," and when that happened, it just came right to my mind. And so that's what we've been doing. We've had to weed out. We've had to start from new, start from new. And then the pandemic, I'm like, really? But I want to have soldiers. I want to have people that it's not about the numbers, it's about the quality, right? And the impact that we have. We even have coming up December the 9th, I'm sorry, we are partnering with the Boys and Girls Club. This past year, the children's book that I did, we gave 100 book bags to the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm partnering with the community. So each time a book was purchased, that was donated towards their book bag. So we were able to donate over 100 book bags, and it was and we have videos and pictures. It was so impactful. So now we're partnering again for December the 9th for their Christmas party. So we're also going to be donating some books to them, and also I'm donating my time. And if anybody else wants to join, you can. So it's from basically, I think it's from 4 to 6 or something like that. So this is where we partner, right? One thing about it is, does it matter? You're no little I's, no little U's. My telephone number, 813-545-9218, 813-545-9218. I have a confidential voicemail. You can text me. That is one-stop shop. My church number, my business number, and my enterprise number. Why did I do that? Because I want people to know that this is who I am. It's mind, body, and soul.
Right.
It's all inclusive. The church is St. Mary's Free Will Baptist Church. It starts at 11 o'clock on Sundays. We also have 9:45. We start at 9:45 for Bible study and Sunday school and fellowship time. And then we start at 11 o'clock for service. Okay. And then December the 11th, you're more than welcome to come. Tickets are $15, and those proceeds will be going. We're also going to be helping Georgia. They're having a pageant. So we are going to sponsor one young lady towards pageantry. So this is another business that she has partnered with, is her own pageantry. She used to be a part of, in pageantry. So now she's mentoring. So I'm help building someone else's empire as well, right? So portions of that will go to them. Also, just one thing, the reason why I have this, right? The joy of the Lord is our strength. When you realize, in my book, you'll realize that joy is very effervescent, right?
Yes, it is.
It's
Yeah.
my joyous
It's
power
contagious.
will allow you to explore the many dynamics of joy. The simplistic definition of joy is a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. I believe this is where many of us go awry. There are various books that discuss about the topic, but are unable to answer questions fully about it. Okay, we can only touch the surface of the full comprehension of the true meaning of joy. So if you are adventurous with the thirst for an additional perspective for growth and deeper understanding, then we should begin our research together around joy's quintessential characteristics. Joy is life. Joy is a person. Joy is what keeps us going, right?
Yes.
Joy is not just your personality, but it's something that you don't ever let anyone take your joy. And when you say that, I lost my joy at one time, okay? I lost my song. I lost my sweetness. Felt like my innocence. Because when you come with an innocent and pure heart, people will do what? Try to take advantage of that. But God showed me your joy is powerful, because when they come at you with a sword, you're going to come with them with joy, right?
Exactly.
When they come with you with a smart attitude, you're going to come with them with joy, and it hits them and it stops them dead on their tracks. So even today, my body was aching, but I says, you know what? I still got joy. We're going to be impactful today, whether stuffed nose, congested, whatever. But that's what joy is. It
That's
keeps
right.
that
Exactly.
determination, keeps you going. There you go.
And so that would be your pearl of wisdom, to keep your joy.
Don't fight for your joy.
Fight for your joy. Yes. And so
Fight
I think
for your joy.
Mama Tony had a question.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
She wants you to, okay, you gave her contact information because she wants you to be a part of CBLR. Dr. Tony, what is that? Mama Tony, what is that?
Christian's Book Lovers Retreat.
Okay.
It's held every year in October.
Oh, you just had it. We just.
That's why I was the other weekend in the last week in October. Next year is October the 27th through the 30th, 2022.
So Mama Tony will get in touch with you, and maybe you'll be able to make that.
I just was asking for permission to introduce you, to tell the people who run it about you, because I just go as a reader and an influencer and a book reviewer.
Right. Yeah. So she'll make the
that is awesome.
Yeah, you'll make the connection. Right.
I've been so
and you can always reach me at drapriljohnson.com. Okay. That has all my website, has all my information. Yeah. And I almost fell out the chair when I typed that in and it was available. I fell up. And then my email is drdapriljohnson@outlook.com. Then they added drapril.johnson at Omaha, Mutual of Omaha. So I am Dr. April, and that just blew me away. They're like, no, you're Dr. April. So when I came to my my interview, right, they had welcomed Dr. April. And I mean, talk about, you're not supposed to be tearing up on your
first day.
But this was just the interview. But you know what? The Lord began to show me that you're bringing excellence for others, right? So when they come to my conference, everyone gets a beautiful gift, and I treat them like royalty, right? Even when I was in banking, you never know who is who, okay? And lesson learned in 2000, it was in 1999. Give me a second. You notice when I'm so excited, that's when it happens. I get so excited, right? So I worked for this bank in the Midwest. And guess what? This older gentleman, I was a teller, and he stank. And I mean, like before he came, right? And he looked dirty, and he comes in with this bag of money. Okay, it's in a bag, like the old whiskey bags, right?
Right.
And he came and I'm like, oh, and I'm sitting there like, okay, sir, thank you. Took it, I'm counting it with all this attitude. I go and deposit it into his account, and the digits were so big that I did not even know how to count them. And the Holy Spirit said, now you need to fix your face and make this right, because he could have not only your job, but your entire life. So I fixed my face and I was over nice to this person, right? And so what was the lesson learned? You never know. Don't judge a book from
Right.
outside.
Oh, absolutely.
So from that day forward, I treated everybody, because he could have had me fired. Because I mean, I didn't say anything, but it was just the
attitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Attitude.
Like, you're gonna have me count your nickels and your change, and it was just the whole attitude. But honey, I went over there. I was like, is there anything else I can do for you? I'm so glad you came. Come back and ask for me next time. I mean, total 180 degrees, right? But that lesson learned to me was, and don't ever do that again. Right. That's what I says, don't ever, ever, ever do that again. So that was my lesson, but I got grace in it, right? But I didn't necessarily have to have grace in it. So that's where my journey came. And it's so awesome. I didn't see Sister Teresa, Minister Teresa. She was with my journey in my first Christian counseling, Rainbow Christian Counseling in DeLand, Florida. And I stepped out on faith, and I had Rainbow Christian Counseling. And then I had Mind, Body, and Soul, with that also had the Herbalife in there. We did ministry and we did church. So I've always been a dynamic type person, and
you've always been a serial entrepreneur.
Yes, multi-levels. I'm talking about Mary Kay. I still have Mary Kay now. I still do Mary Kay. I just don't do it as I need to get back, because the director's like, you should be. I'm like, I got so much product. Y'all want
too much, right?
Y'all can come to me.
Well, Dr. Johnson, it is our time. It's about 9:13. And so I want to thank everybody for hanging in there with us. And I hope that you feel much, much better.
Well, you guys have made me feel better.
We will just pray over your body and soul that by the end of the week that you are, completely healed at the end of this week. And,
my husband thanks you. My husband
thank you, husband.
Yes, because he said, because I had to fix myself up, right? He said, now do I know you? I was like, well, thank God for Sister.
Well, girl, we can look some kind of ugly when we're sick. Listen, I'm here to testify.
Honey, listen, he was tired of we pull it back. We put our little scarf on.
That's it. It's a wrap.
He knew the last 2 days. Don't even talk about it.
Well, tell him thank you very much for letting you spend time with us this evening. And thank you to all of you for being here.
Thank you. I've enjoyed you all.
I'm always humbled to see people take their time to be on the show with us. And this is a Fresh Book production. We hope to see you at the Fresh Book Festival in January, 6, 7, 8 in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. My honor. Good night. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.